This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/Red5.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to On the 5. Today is February 25th, and I am excited for this evening because a very dear friend of mine is going to be joining us. But before that, let's get down to some business, shall we? I am, again, very grateful to the Red 5 Network and being able to spearhead the Red 5 Book Club. I discovered yesterday, it was actually the 3-year anniversary of the Twitter account. I had no idea. But we're going to still celebrate a little bit anyways, including with the announcement of the April book read, which I'm so excited to talk about tonight for just a quick second. But before I do that, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you also visit us at bio.link/Red5 because that is where you can find myself and many other content creators of the 5, which is part of the reason why I call it the Red 5. Without further ado, I am very excited. We have been doing polls and brackets based off of book suggestions within our book club, the Red 5 Reading. And for April, we are going to be reading The Merisha by Andy Weir. So get your books. If you want to join us, make sure you hit me up on a DM on Red 5 Reading and we'll get you included. We meet on Sunday nights, but we actually have a Discord with Red 5 Network and y'all get to join us and have fun and even talk with each other throughout the week. We have a wonderful time, and that is going to be for April. I know I see the excitement already in the chat from Mr. I know there's a lot of excitement for that one. Lots of excitement. So that is April's. And for coming out in April, what we're going to be reading in May is The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. Make sure you look him up because right now you can actually get a lot of autographed or signed copies. And I think that would be really cool if you're able to get that a part of your collection. And that'll be for May. So getting a little bit of ahead. And we're currently reading The Last Command, which is the third volume in the trilogy of Heir to the Empire. Tonight, we're actually meeting after on the 5, and I'm so excited because this has been so wonderful. This is my first real, I've had some legend books in my arsenal, in my book library, but I haven't read them yet. And I'm glad I waited because we're reading them now. So I'm so excited. So, but without further ado, I am excited because this month has been so much fun. The beginning of the month, I had Andrew here from Science Fictionary. And then I had the pleasure of having Adam Bray here for Star Wars Podcast Day. We had a book review with everybody from the Red 5 Book Club, which was so much fun. But I get to end this with a bookend, shall we say. Because the beginning month again, I had Andrew here from Science Fictionary. Tonight, I am having Coruscant Radio and Science Fictionary, his co-host, his beautiful wife, my dear friend, Miss Merisha, Princess.
Yay! So good to see you. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. I know I've missed you.
I know I've been busy. I've actually been working, so that's exciting.
I know. I'm so there is twofold. Right, here's me. I'm all excited. Andrew, I'm so excited. Merisha's thing. And then I'm going, wonder how Merisha's doing. Do I text her? Do I not text her? Man, I should text her. But she might be busy on, this is me, the last, month, 2 months. And then even when we did a little special thing in January with Jennifer, we brought everyone back from our princess that we had done, our princess show that we had done on News and Abuse. And I'm like, I wonder if Merisha, and I knew you were going to be busy. I'm like, I know she's busy. She's on set, which is awesome.
Yep, she is. I pretty much don't do anything when I'm on a movie. I work and I sleep.
That's what I thought.
13-hour days or
yeah,
a lot of there's not a whole lot of time for much else.
Yeah,
and sleeping and working.
Now, are you able to share a little bit of anything about this movie that you were costume designing for?
I was not costume designing. I was a costumer and a seamstress on it.
My apologies. Thank you for correcting.
Yes. Alas, I would have loved to have designed it. It was it was a period piece. Currently, I don't think like there's not anything on IMDb, and honestly, I'm not sure exactly what the NDA that I signed lets me say. So for now, I'm just gonna say it's a movie that filmed in Natchez. And so if you want to Google what's been going on in Natchez filming, you might could find something there.
Awesome. Fair enough and safe enough.
Yes.
But I'm glad you're back. I know Andrew and your family is very glad to have you back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been enjoying a little bit of a reprieve, hopefully not too long, but yeah, enjoying getting a little bit of a break, getting my house not looking like a tornado hit it. That's my current goal in life. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Captain America shield is up on the wall still, so that's always a good sign.
It's true. It's true. Andrew's part of the world actually works pretty well.
That's good.
You know, he works in here all day, so he mostly keeps it tidy.
Keeps it tidy.
It's the whole rest of the house that, falls apart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least at the other side of the wall, nothing really majorly happened, or that would all
right.
Been gone.
Yep.
So, oh, well, this is, again, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here. Because again, it feels like forever. So
I know, it kind of has been.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a total dork, you guys. When I haven't seen or been able to talk to my friends, I go, it's true. It's true. It's like catching up all over again.
Yep, it's good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with the first round. Everything is book related. I don't know if you got to see what I did with Andrew, but is all book related. It's all a lot of fun. Which
Perfect.
I'm going to start us off with a question that I first posed on the first show I ever did of On the Fives with Ro, which keeps kind of coming up now because now I got to know which side, if you're Team Ro or if you're the light side. So if you're reading a book, would you prefer villain or hero?
Hero every time. I'm vanilla that way.
Ro, she's not your team. I don't know why. I have redubbed it like over hero or villain to either hero or Rose side with the Vader.
That's fair.
It's just kind of become its own thing. All right. Would you rather read in a cabin in the woods, or would you rather read in a cabin by the beach?
Ooh. I'll take the woods. I kind of like the sound of crickets and sand is coarse and irritating. So
wow, that's how Anakin feels too.
Gets everywhere, and that is true. Like if you've ever taken kids to the beach,
yes,
I do sympathize with that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember living in Florida. I loved the beach, loved it, loved the ocean. The sand, I like it, but I don't like it all at the same time.
And it gets like in your carpet, and you like shake it out for days.
Yes, everywhere. This is true. Everywhere.
True.
Everywhere.
It's terrible.
This is why I need, I'm going to have to ask Ro if we can create a video that says sand with Anakin going, no.
Perfect.
It would be perfect. Okay.
It would indeed.
Would you rather live in a fantasy book or live in a classic book?
Ooh. Fantasy worlds tend to be lots of fun to read about, but they tend to not be the sort of places one would actually like to live. Like the world of Little Women, it may not always be perfectly, perfect, but at least you're not going to get eaten by a dragon,
This is true. And you can still actually go there to this day.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, theoretically, yeah, sure, I'd love to live in a fantasy book because who wouldn't, right? But in reality... so Narnia would be a pretty low key place to live most of the time. Like
mine's the
very low chance of getting like mauled or eaten by something terrible or turned into, a frog.
Right.
But like, I mean, I don't know that Middle Earth is really a place I want to be hanging out. It's kind of violent up in there.
Agreed.
I mean, I definitely don't want to be living in, like Game of Thrones.
No.
That's no place anybody wants to live. So I'm
So
going with classic just
classic.
because I like my safety and comfort. I mean, and unless I get to like pick, if I can be a hobbit every day, all day, every day.
Oh yes,
I could just I could
agree.
eat
If I was in
times
Lord
a
of the
day
Mhm.
and take lots of naps and
Lots of breakfast.
lots of breakfast. What's not to love? But
Exactly.
like just general live in the world.
Yeah.
Not necessarily so interested in all that.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on this one. If I was in Lord of the Rings, the only place I would want to be is a hobbit.
A hobbit, 100%. Like hobbits have got it going on.
Yeah. Lots of breakfast, lots of naps. Beautiful, rounded. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
And
It's
what's not to
wonderful.
love about round doors? Like round doors are where it's at.
Heck yeah. All right. Would you rather read by the fireplace or read by the beach?
Ooh. Again, probably read by the fireplace. While I do enjoy the beach, I don't enjoy reading by the beach because my book gets wet. It's very practical. All the very practical reasons. And then you have skin, you have sand in your book. It's just
Or children.
Or children who are like, "Hey, mom." How close? Andrew wants to know how close to the fireplace are we talking?
Yes.
A safe distance.
Safe.
At a safe distance.
I'm
safe
assuming
and pleasant distance.
Exactly. And I'm assuming there will probably be like some type of cover anyways, it's
Right.
open, but we're still protected.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Bookending this first round of this or that.
Okay.
Would you rather read read about a villain in your favorite book or read about a hero in a book you hate?
Oh no, definitely going to read about a villain in my favorite book.
Awesome.
I am not all about like I back in that minute there where everybody in the world was reading Twilight, I was like, I'm going to try it. I made it like a whole chapter and I was like, can't even. So I can't do reading a whole book about heroes in a book I hate. I'd just rather read about the villains and the stories I love. Because, at least maybe you'll find out something interesting, find out why they're a villain or something.
Agreed. And I think everyone has like, their favorite genres and things like that. And it's not for everyone. It's just not.
It's true.
And that's okay.
It's true.
And that's what makes it all good. All right. So speaking of different genres and things, we're going to go and move on to the next round. We're just going to go a little bit more nerdy, a little bit more bookish. What is your all-time favorite book series thus far?
Ooh. Me? Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings has got to win for me. I got very attached to Lord of the Rings when I was a teenager and have kind of continuously been obsessed to some degree ever since then. So I think it probably wins. Narnia is probably a runner-up. I really love Narnia.
Me too.
But Narnia, the world building in Narnia is so haphazard. I do like the cohesion of Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to have to ask you a this or that question. I'm going to add it in.
Okay.
So again, back in January, I brought back the girls from our princess themed show that we did on Used and Abused with Jennifer and stuff. And I got called evil for some of my questions, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. One of the questions included a this or that.
Okay.
I think it was either picking Middle Earth or Narnia. I don't know if I actually pinned those two next to each other, but I think it was either that or it was like Lord of the Rings or Hogwarts. Something that made everyone go, "You're evil."
That's
So
funny.
now I'm just gonna have to ask the question: would you rather read like Lord of the Rings or Narnia? Like,
Read? Lord of the Rings or Narnia? Honestly,
or be in the world of what would you be in? Which world would you rather be
which
in?
world would I rather live in?
We can discuss it even.
I mean, like I said, Narnia's pretty low key. I feel like you're a lot safer in general in Narnia than you are in Lord of the Rings. You're liable to wind up in the middle of some terrible war between gods and demons and humans and be collateral damage. There's much less risk of being collateral damage in Narnia.
I think Lord of the Rings is like, well, it's not really science fiction. It's like the Dungeons and Dragons of Tolkien's time. It's true. And
Yeah.
I love Narnia because I just think I love them both because I love Tolkien. I love C.S. Lewis. But Narnia, there's something about going, I've got Aslan on my side. We're good. You know, and I just kind of move on.
Yeah, I love the I kind of love the simplicity of Narnia. You know, there's a it's kind of like, anything you can imagine kind of world, anything fantastical and wonderful, you kind of feel like could show up in Narnia.
Yeah.
You can have Dionysus and you can have Father Christmas, show up, right there at the same time, right there together. So it's hard to argue with.
Yeah. Well, let's keep talking about this. I love talking about Narnia and Lord of the Rings. Do you have a favorite character from each series?
Okay, so I'm have always been a bit of a strange, a bit of a dark horse in Narnia, and that Susan was always my favorite.
Okay.
And she was, like never. I don't think she was intended to be anyone's favorite, but she always was. I always just thought she was
an underrated character.
She knew what was up, man. She was like, okay, this is dumb. Why are we doing this thing? And maybe I never quite felt like the innocent wide-eyed child that Lucy was, that I think children were supposed to connect with, but I never kind of viewed myself as that sort of innocent wide-eyed kind of person. And so the cynical Susan was always more my speed.
And what about from Lord of the Rings? Favorite character?
Lord of the Rings. I have always been partial to Faramir and Eowyn, for their own kind of different ways. But there are so many different kinds of characters, but I always really loved Faramir's resistance of who he could have so easily been. He was supposed he believed in good, and he believed in the people around him, and he believed in doing the right thing, even in the face of the opposition of the people that he loved. And he could still love the people that he loved without and see their faults, which always seemed like a really valuable quality to me. And I mean, and Eowyn is just so dadgum cool. She's making it happen. So yeah. So those were always kind of my two favorites. Because of course everybody's got to love Sam. You got to love Aragorn. You got to love Galadriel. But I've clearly always been a little bit keen on your more obscure characters. And
Yeah.
I always find it really interesting whenever characters who don't have as big of a story to tell still have a really interesting arc. So
Mhm. Awesome. Name a fictional character that reminds you of you.
ooh. So when I was young, I felt like I was Jane Bennett from
Brian
Pride and Prejudice. I tended to always think the best of people, and I was just, always had to be like, oh no, I don't think they meant it that way. I think, I was always that person. So when I was young, I really that was very me. At some point I realized that I turned bitter and cynical in my old age. And so I don't think that I'm really that person anymore. So I don't know, Andrew might have to answer that question of what fictional character I am now. Although
Andrew, play it safe if you want to drop it in the comments.
I do think of like I remember reading good grief, Little Women. And
Yes.
and after Meg gets married,
I love my
like her mom comes in the house and she's sitting on the floor with her apron over her head, crying because her jelly won't gel.
No. Yes.
And like adult Merisha feels that in her soul. She's always telling her husband, oh, bring your friends home for dinner. You don't have to even ask, just bring.
So we have a question from our chat. Have we ever read any of the Pride and Prejudice zombies? I have not.
I have not. I've always intended to do it, but I have not done it.
I have not, because I'm just like, I love the original. Like, I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I love Pride and Prejudice, and I'm with you. I love Jane. In fact, I almost am more like Jane and Mr. Bingley than I am Elizabeth and Darcy. Like, yeah, Darcy's like, but there's like, no, I don't know. My luck is going to be Bingley, and I'm okay with that. I'm just, as long as it is not living in the parish and having boiled potato. No. So this is what your husband has to say.
I see that.
It's a trap.
That's stupid written on my phone.
Hey, I did say, now you've got your answer. What, Jane? We mentioned that already. He's so funny.
So I'm in the chat as a science fictionary.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I just realized that's not him. That's you. That's right.
That's me. Yeah. It's signed on through his account. So yeah, I don't know who at this stage of my life I feel like I've turned into, other than
I'm gonna change up one of my questions. Is there a book that you read that has a mom in it that you can identify in, like as a mom now? Because we're both
a mom in it that I can identify with. Like,
I always wanted to be Marmee. I didn't end up that way, which stinks, because like that was goals. She raised very strong, independent, in real life, Little Women.
Yeah.
Amy had her bratty moments.
Yeah.
It's Amy.
So honestly, I feel like I have turned a little bit into Mrs. Dashwood from Sense and Sensibility. Like I'm a little drama sometimes. I must acknowledge myself to be a little drama sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, hey girls, let's drama. And they're like, So yeah.
I hear you.
I'm a little bit like, I like to think that I'm not Mrs. Bennett, and bounce around the house complaining about my nerves all the time.
I don't know. I think maybe sometimes that's me just a little bit. Like when you've
Yeah.
had a long day and you're
Mhm.
just coming home and you're coming into the house, right?
Right.
And you're just like, and everybody is pecking at you.
Mhm.
No matter how many people, it could be only 2 people in the house, it could be however many.
Mhm.
And you're just like, you're on my nerves. I just had a really long day. Give me 5 minutes. Just
Yes.
5.
My poor nerves. My poor
My
nerves.
poor nerves. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
So like I said, I think I'm probably a little bit Mrs. Dashwood. I would love to say that I'm totally got it together and I'm this super functional Marmee from Red.
Those were goals, but it just,
Mhm. Alas.
yeah.
Real life Merisha haven't really got it all quite that together. Yeah, the tendency to like drama, feed in like, oh, no, we must all sit and play sad songs and be sad, right?
So again,
I have
I'm
to
gonna
push
continue-
against it a little bit, but
Yeah. I'm going to continue to change my questions because I came kind of pre-prepared about the way our conversation's going. I'm like, forget it. Toss them aside. I want my questions to be what they want. Let's continue on with some Jane Austen.
Okay.
What is your favorite book to movie adaptation from Jane Austen?
1995 Pride and Prejudice.
Really? Okay.
No, not wait, the one with Jennifer L and Colin Firth. 1999.
No, I think
95? What year
I
is
think
it?
you had it right. I know it's the
Okay.
Colin Firth one. As soon as you said it, I was like,
Yes.
okay.
It's like 6 hours long.
Yes, it's very
glorious.
long.
It's very long, but it's perfect.
Now, which one do you like because of the costumes? And which ones are
Ooh, the
kinda accurate?
costumes?
Yeah, which ones are accurate? I'm like, I'm gonna pick your brain now on the
So,
costumes. It's like,
in general, anything done by BBC, the costumes are pretty accurate.
they do fabulous.
The costumes for there was one that they made in like 2004
That would be the one with Keira Knightley that I love.
with Keira Knightley and Michael McFadden. Now, Michael McFadden was just amazing as Mr. Darcy.
Yes, he was.
But I did not enjoy Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Bennet at all. But the costumes on that one were not nearly as museumy, right? And so, but some of them, they look like some of them were just not as accurate, but some of them just weren't the sort of thing that you would walk into the Met and see. And so there was a little bit more of a variety of what things might look like if you actually wore them every day, as opposed to what they look like sitting on a mannequin in the museum. Now they made an Emma adaptation a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they did.
It had some just beautiful costumes. The costumes were just phenomenal. In that one, it was a weird kind of the adaptation was a little bit weird. But the costumes are beautiful.
That I agree 100%. But there was a BBC one, 2000s. I think it was like 2009. I'm not 100%. I love it, of Emma. And it's got, what's his name, who played Dumbledore? He's Emma's dad. He's Mr.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Yes. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Like,
yeah, it was
here's
great.
me. Like, bye. Just after I watched them, like I used them off of like the BritBox or whatever for a week. I'm like, finally, I'm like, buy it.
Yep.
Buy it.
Have you seen? They did also. I'm sure all the guys in the chat are just riveted by all this. They did an adaptation of Northanger Abbey on BBC.
Yes.
With Felicity Jones from Rogue One.
Yes, I've seen it.
Oh my gosh, that is also one of my favorite Jane Austen adaptations. It was just so good. J.J. Field was just ridiculously charming as Mr. Tilney, and Felicity Jones just perfect. In fact, when they cast her in a Star Wars movie, I was like, because the only thing I'd ever seen her in was at this really fluff-headed girl in Northanger Abbey. But yeah, that's a good one. That's also my favorite Jane Austen book, incidentally, Miss Northanger Abbey.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, do you have a favorite character from Northanger Abbey?
Northanger Abbey. I mean, I
think you're gonna have to school your husband.
He won't watch Jane Austen movies with me. I watch all kind of Andrew stuff with him, but he won't watch Jane Austen with me.
Oh, come on, Andrew. If I was down there, I'd come over and visit.
I know.
We'd watch our.
But my girl's old enough to watch that stuff with me now, so that helps.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
I always did like Catherine Morland, but Henry Tilney, I think, may be my favorite Austen hero. He's just, incidentally, a lot like the man I married. Very snarky and always has a comeback, and you never quite know like exactly what, like sometimes he'll say things and you're like, I'm not sure how I should take that, but you know, got a heart of gold, and just ridiculously charming. Swept us off our feet.
All right, so let's end this round. Last question.
Okay.
If you could go visit one author's house, whose would it be?
Whose would it be? I would love to visit. Well, let's see. There are so many choices.
I could just do a vacation on it.
Yeah, right. I think that I probably would like to see Jane Austen's house. Like, there are a lot of interesting authors that I would love to kind of explore their place, but she's my favorite. So, or Shakespeare. I mean, like if that were an option, like to see where Shakespeare actually wrote, I would. I mean, we're talking theoretical now, of course. You know, that's not actually an option that I know of. I don't think, but it would be very cool.
I don't have it close to me, but I recently got a book, and it's about visiting the different homes, like a Louisa Alcott, Emerson Waldo, like all of them up in that New England state, and I'm just like, wow, could you just like imagine? Just imagine, because they just have a lot there in that little section.
Right. Yep.
I would love it.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so very much. This has been so much fun. I'm going to have you back sometime, because we're probably going to nerd out some more about Jane Austen, Little Women, and all that, because hello.
As one does.
And easily we could also even do Hogwarts too. Because I just know we could.
If we do that, we might have to invite Iana along. She knows much, much more about Harry Potter than I do.
All right. And quick reminder to our audience. Again, April's book read is going to be The Martian by Andy Weir. Very
phenomenal book. Absolutely phenomenal book.
I have not read it. It was up against Princess Bride. I know.
We can always do Princess Bride later.
This is me. I've never read The Princess Bride. I wasn't originally going to include myself in suggestions, and I'm like, I'm just going to throw one in there. Because here I am discovering all the same time that, you know, oh, look, there's Jaws the book. There's this and this and this. And I'm like, I'm just going to throw one in. It's going to be Princess Bride. Wasn't expecting it would even get to the final round. I thought it was going to be kicked out the first round. I've already said it to them. I said, I have a feeling I'm going to end up having to order 2 books.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I'm just trying to find the cover I like. I was hoping that I did buy Penguin House has the really nice cloth covers of all the Jane Austen books. They're gorgeous. Beautiful. Like I originally got my first one actually because I was included in a book club that was reading Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
It was a beautiful cover. And so when I just saw the other ones, I just saved up and bought myself the set. I'm like, it's just beautiful. It's just wonderful. So anyways, thank you so very much, Merisha. I know you're not really big on social media, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Where can everybody find you on social media, as well as your other counterpart who bookends here?
Yes. You can find me on Instagram. I am princesses_and_padawans on Instagram. And occasionally I am P Padawans on Twitter. You can also find me on the Science Fictionary podcast and on Coruscant Radio Underground. You can listen to those anywhere you listen to podcasts. And yeah, that's what we do.
I want to acknowledge this real quick, Brett, because I think I'm going to try to see if I can somehow do us a watch party with this one.
Ooh, that would be fun after you read the book.
Mm-hmm. I have not read the book and I have not seen the movie.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of like going in. I am willing to do this. I'm like, okay, we're going to have 1 month without Star Wars for a month, which, you know, what's a nice reprieve, right?
Yeah.
So here's to hoping. 26 chapters.
You're going to make it. You can always get an audiobook.
I have faith. So we're good. But it's
a good one.
Work it.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you to everybody that has joined in today. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Please make sure you check out Merisha on the Science Fictionary course on Underground, as well as Princess and Padawans. It has been wonderful having everyone in the chat. It has been wonderful seeing my nerd sister Merisha, who's also part of the Red 5 Network. So make sure you check that out. Mm-hmm. And without further, hold up. I gotta say hello to my other co-host from Use and Abuse.
Yay!
That is our normal thing. I didn't know you were lurking in there, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Scott and Kim. They were actually on actually, they might have been on when you were just getting started on set, I think. Okay. All right. So let me see. You know, I know Rose there, but I don't want to do that. So anyways, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time on the Fives. Night. That, and I'm gonna hit that, and we're gonna try again. Well, technology, I'm still learning. We're good.